I said, guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? What's going on, boxing fans and UFC fans, actually? Welcome to Backchat TV. Please excuse me, I'm just getting over a flu, a very bad flu. It has affected my voice, but hopefully you can still understand me. We're going to get straight into UFC this time because we've got a really exciting card coming up in the UFC. I've actually been waiting for this fight, this rematch to be made. There's a few fights on the card, but the main event is obviously Usman, Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. We all know how exciting their fights have been. Their first fight, Kamaru Usman dominated the majority of that fight, and it looked as if Kamaru Usman was going to go on to dominate the welterweight division, which he almost did until we had this rematch. And then obviously, if you watch the fight, Kamaru Usman was dominating that fight, was starting to dominate that fight. After the first round, which he lost, because Leon Edwards did take him down, then the second and third round after that, it was all Usman really, until the famous kick that took him out of the realm. Out of the solar system, whatever you want to call it, but he was definitely, not with us. It was an amazing kick, but it was one kick in a 5-round fight, and I think Usman has kind of got it into his head that it was kind of a lucky fluke type of thing, and I think he kind of needs that to build himself back. And this is, I do like these kind of rematches where it's like you have no idea who's going to win. They're both highly skilled athletes. They've both had an unbeaten streak prior to this fight, and they're literally the two best in the division. Obviously, you could say that Colby Covington's also got a shout in this, but I think that these two are the best, and I think Colby Covington, comes in a very close third, to be honest. They're both extremely highly technical and very well-rounded, and I just really don't know who's going to win, but I'm very excited to watch the fight. It's coming up soon on Saturday the 18th of March, in a few days' time. I thought I'll do a quick video on it, looking into both of their mindsets, who I think is going to win. We're making a prediction at the end of that little kind of discussion about their mindset and who I think is going to win the rematch. I think there's a lot of things that play into it. I feel like their mindsets are kind of different. They're different people. I think that Kamaru Usman, the former champion, he got into a kind of mindset. Once he fought a lot of top names and he beat them quite easily, he got into this kind of mindset that maybe he can't be beaten, that he is like light years ahead of a lot of these guys. And I just think just that mindset of thinking that, realizing that you're much better than these guys, I think that it creates, where he was confident before, as a challenger he was always confident, it crosses over into a little bit of arrogance very quickly and you don't realize it. And I think that I'm not blaming Kamaru Usman because I'm a huge fan. I'm just saying that it's difficult to know where to draw the line between confidence and arrogance, or being overconfident and things like that, thinking that you can't be beaten, or that because he's got this amazing wrestling background, because he's paid his dues in the wrestling field, he feels like no one can out wrestle him and things like that. And I think once you've got this mindset, you kind of set up to lose at some point. If you look at all the people who thought they can't be beaten, they've all been beaten. Conor McGregor, he used to say, "Oh, I'm different from everyone. I strike differently. No one can move like the way I move," and things like that, And he was just setting himself up for a loss. And everyone I've seen that's had that mindset has lost when it comes up to, when it really comes down to it. The people who have a more balanced mindset, more down to earth, no matter how well they do, they tend to do better overall over the long haul. Of their careers, they tend to do better. And if they do lose, it tends to be easier to come back. I mean, if you watch I'm trying to think of someone. I mean, even Leon Edwards, when he lost to Kamaru the first time, he was disappointed. But, you know, he just said, well, you know, best man won. I'll be better. I'll take some time off and I'll come back. And I think that's Leon Edwards. That's his attitude. You know, he seemed much more workmanlike in his attitude. He's not so. I think they're both motivated by different things. I think Leon Edwards seems like the kind of guy that would be just as happy to get a really good paycheck, like which is what he deserves as a champion, and just get some recognition from his fans and stuff like that for, you know, what he does in the ring, in the octagon, and that's it. I don't think he needs private jets or all of this stuff, or to be told he's the greatest of all time, or you know, any of that kind of stuff. And I don't think he needs that to come and do his job. I think he's a person who's more inspired by his actual craft. I just see that in his personality. You know, he doesn't have this kind of over dramatic kind of personality or anything like that. He's actually kind of, I don't mean this in an offensive way, but he's kind of actually boring. Like, if you was to watch him, if he was to retain his belt against Usman, and you know, still the champion, I don't think you'd see that much difference in his emotions. You know, that kind of person, and that's the kind of a feeling I get from him. He's just a normal guy. He just answers questions quite normally. You know, he doesn't overstate anything. He doesn't understate anything. And he just says, you know, he thinks he's a better athlete. He gives people props. He gives people their just dues, you know, and he doesn't talk down about anyone. He just seems like an ordinary, down-to-earth person. Just wants to train and then fight, you know. And this kind of mentality kind of just keeps you grounded. He doesn't have a problem with staying grounded. Leon Edwards, 100% he doesn't. It's just his personality. Whereas Kamaru, I think Kamaru has a little bit of a problem with staying grounded. Not as much as someone like Conor McGregor, but I think he does have that problem because he gets on a high. When he wins, like if he beats Leon, you'll never hear the end of it. You know, the whole kind of persona will come back in full force. At the moment, it's just 50% because of that knockout loss. He's kind of just underplaying things a little bit. But if he was to come back in a convincing win, he would give props to Leon because he is a respectful guy, but you'd never hear the end of it. You know, the ego would go up 150%, and he would go back to, you know, the looking in the mirror naked statement that he made last time. He would go back to all of that, you know. He's taking people's souls. He's much better than everybody. There's nobody like him and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with being like that. There's nothing wrong with being like that. I just feel that, like, when you're like that, you fall harder or from a further point, if you see what I mean, than when you're down to earth. Makes sense. If you're down to earth, you haven't got very far to fall if you lose. But if you're not down to earth, you're going to hurt yourself on the way down. And I kind of feel like that's Kamaru Usman's downfall in a way. So in this rematch now, for example, Kamaru keeps saying that it's Leon Edwards who's got the pressure on him because he's the champion. Yeah, but I don't think it is. Leon's enjoying himself. He won. He was able to do a lot of things for his family, for his mum. He bought his mum a Caribbean restaurant. And now he wants to go in there. He's focused. He knows that he can knock him out. He knows that he can wrestle him to the ground because he did that in the first round. There's nothing for him to fear. And I think he's going to go in there stronger, fitter. I don't think he's going to get tired this time. And I think he's going to showcase his full set of skills, you see. Whereas Kamaru's got all these mental things going on that he's trying to block out. I mean, don't get me wrong, Kamaru is mentally strong, extremely strong, Kamaru Usman, to bounce back, to be so confident, you know, straight after the fight, and even now, he's definitely mentally very strong, and that's why he was a champion for so long, and that's why he's here in this fight, you know. That's why he's so difficult to beat. He is mentally strong, that is true, but at the same time, I just think that Kamaru Usman's kind of personality type will always have pressure on his head because he wants greatness, he wants adulation, he wants the best things that you know money can buy. He wants to be recognized because he wants all these things, which is nothing wrong with that. He puts all these expectations on his head, whereas I don't think Edwards really wants all that like that. Of course he wants to be famous, of course he wants nice things and stuff like that, but I just don't see the same kind of thing in Edwards. I think Edwards is more of an introvert by nature than Usman is. So, you know, the extroverted person, which I would think is more Usman, they need more validation and things like that from the outside. Whereas I just don't see that in Edwards. So I think Edwards is actually quite calm and relaxed going into this fight. And I think Usman, I think he's determined. I think he's pretty calm, but I don't think he's that relaxed on the inside. But maybe it will help him. Maybe it's good. The best fights, a lot of fighters have said that the time they performed the best was when they were the most scared or nervous. So, I think Usman is a bit scared and nervous in the inside and not showing it. And maybe that will bring out the performance that he needs to win. So you can never really look into the things too much and see what they really mean. But it is a tough one. Now, if I was Usman's coach, I would tell him to wrestle, 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 non-stop wrestling. Because anytime Usman, in the first fight and the second fight, anytime Usman tried to wrestle with Edwards, Edwards struggled with that. He struggled with the constant pressure. He struggled with the constant wrestling because Edwards is a kind of guy, he likes space. He likes distance. He likes to create distance so that he can set up his strikes, and he likes to be quite technical. He often, sticks that left hand out there, that left arm out there to keep you at arm's length so that he can keep you at the end of the fast jab and then move out the way. He likes to be able to get out of the way of kicks because he's already created that distance. He doesn't really like to get involved that much. He likes to fire those fast lightning kicks from distance, like the one he used to knock out Usman with. And a lot of his strikes, he likes to strike from distance. If you do get close to him, he will wrestle, as he's been working on it, but it's not something that comes natural to him. So he prefers to be quite athletic and striking you from distance. And Usman likes to wrestle, and he likes to be kind of close and personal because he's often the physically stronger man. So he likes to impose his strength and his will. And I think that's what he should do. Usman should use every opportunity to be awkward, get his hands up, and get stuck in with, takedowns after takedowns after takedowns, just like the way Khabib used to do with his opponents. I think Khabib's style is the perfect style for someone like Edwards, who doesn't like really all of that wrestling stuff. So if Usman can do that, obviously, it's going to be very hard to implement constant wrestling. I don't think he will be able to implement that, but if he can, that will be the route to victory for Usman. I don't think the striking department is going to be a good route for him. For Edwards, I would say it's mostly the complete opposite. Keep the distance, the hands striking, the feet, the kicks from distance, and occasionally mix up some surprise attacks with jiu-jitsu. And I think that would be the best strategy for Edwards. But yeah, I'm really excited to see the fight. Just a quick mention on the co-main event as well. Another one I'm looking forward to is obviously Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. That's going to be an amazing fight as well. It's really going to be an amazing card, I think. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't do UFC that much, to be honest, but I'm looking forward to this one. My predictions. Edwards, I think Edwards gets it done again. I think Gaethje loses. I just think maybe his time is up now. So I think Fiziev gets that one against Rafael, gets that one against Gaethje. You've got to remember, a lot of these great former champions, they're getting quite old now. They're quite into their 30s, 35, 36. In the case of Usman, I think Usman is 36 now. He's had knee surgeries. I think he's had hand surgery, so all these things are starting to play a part, and against someone as good as Leon Edwards, who hasn't had all these surgeries yet, I just think it's going to be a bit too difficult for the older man, the older man in Usman, to kind of overcome all those injuries. So that's why I'm picking Edwards. But it's going to be exciting to watch. I hope you guys get to watch it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your predictions. I'm on to the next one. If you enjoyed the video today, please don't forget to like, share, leave a comment, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.